Hello, Internet. I'm home, obviously. After 12 hours in the emergency room, and they did a ton of tests. It did take a long time for them to see me. They were packed full. There were people there with a lot worse going on than me. I could hear people in a lot of pain around me, and they were being tended to first, of course. So mostly I just lay on a gurney and try to get some sleep, which I did not. So anyway, when they finally got around to me, they put an IV line in, drew some blood for blood tests. The ER doctor I talked to, we went through all my medical history with a fine-tooth comb looking for something, anything that could be going on here. They did an ultrasound of my heart, didn't find anything. They did what I believe was called a D-dimer test on my blood to look for evidence of a blood clot in my lungs. He said that very often with cancer, people with cancer are more susceptible to blood clots, and a blood clot in the lungs can indicate can produce similar symptoms to what I've been experiencing. The cough, especially, nausea, vomiting, that heartburn sensation. That test actually did come back positive, but he said that there were other things that could indicate it's not just blood clots in the lung. So he sent me for first an x-ray of my chest, and that didn't show anything. And then he sent me for a CT scan. And it was actually kind of scary because when I was waiting to hear back about the CT scan, a nurse comes in, or maybe a doctor, I didn't check. She comes in and she's like, okay, so just to go over things here. So you have colon cancer? And I said, yes. And she says, and that spread to your lungs? And I'm like, no, it spread to my liver. And she goes, and your lungs? And I'm like, no, what? Did the CT scan come back? Did it indicate that I have cancer in my lungs? And she's like, oh, well, hold on. And she leaves, and a few minutes later she comes back and she's like, oh, it was my misunderstanding. We haven't gotten the results yet, so it was my mistake. And I was like, don't scare me like that. Finally the results for the CT scan came back and showed nothing. My lungs are fine. My heart is fine. They did find a small buildup of fluid in the pleurals of my lungs, which I've been through that before. If you recall, following surgery, I had fluid buildup it's basically the sac, the membrane that surrounds the lungs. And so between the lungs and that sac, fluid can build up. It's a minor buildup, but that could be what's causing my coughing. Blood test came back fine for everything else, except of course for the cancer markers. And so finally they were like, you can go home. So they found nothing. And while I felt inclined to feel silly for having gone to the ER, I do appreciate on my previous video what everyone said about how I made the right call, and the ER doctor agreed with me. Agreed with that, I should say. Agreed with the idea that, yes, I absolutely made the right call. That you don't know what's going on inside your body. You can't make a guess, and to take a risk when I am in the condition I am, it doesn't make any sense. So he definitely felt that I made the right call in going to the ER. Even if it, turns out that I didn't have anything wrong with me, and I didn't. But so he's going to, or he recommended that I call a cardiologist, make an appointment, so they can take a deeper look at my heart. But so far with every test that they ran, I'm fine. And it was almost 12 hours exactly, because I got out at 3 o'clock. I took an Uber home, um, and I just crawled into bed and I went to sleep because I could not keep my eyes open anymore. And then I got up and I ate, and yeah, and that's where I am now. So tomorrow I'm going to call my oncologist and let them know what happened. And I'm going to bring up about I'm going to bring up something else. So I had a paracentesis Friday, and that was a huge relief. They got 4.6 liters of fluid, the most that they've ever drawn, I think. And I actually measured my belly with a tape measure around the thickest part, basically, and I was 40 inches around. And afterwards, I was 36 inches around. But the buildup of fluid has been occurring so rapidly now that 2 days later, I measure at 38 inches around. So I'm getting worried that this is happening a lot more often, to the point where I am really going to have to start going weekly, or they're going to have to put a permanent drain in. So I'm going to talk to my oncologist about that when I call tomorrow. Aside from that, I was just really tired the whole time I was there. Like I said, there were other people. I could hear somebody screaming, and I actually did ask somebody, and they said that they had a broken bone that they were trying to set, and they were just in so much pain, and I felt really bad for them. And a really scary moment came when I overheard a nurse right outside the room I was in say to someone, so we're pretty sure that you have COVID. So we're going to move you from, being around everyone else. And I'm like, I am right there. I've got a mask on, and I'm assuming that they have a mask on, but that's scary that I have never been that close to a COVID positive person before that I'm aware of. That's really scary. So I'm kind of worried about that. But that aside, I'm really glad to hear that this turned out to be a big old nothing burger. And certainly part of the reason I'm glad is that this means it will not interfere with my vacation coming up. I was really worried that they were going to find something and then it would be like, no, you can't travel. It would be really scary. But in any case, I'm feeling pretty good now. I still got that. It's mild. It's very, very mild now, but I still got a bit of that heartburny feeling. And I still got a bit of that cough. But otherwise, I feel fine. Just mostly kind of, it's kind of annoyed at the whole thing, really. But like everyone says, I did the right thing in going. So it's better to know for certain and to err on the side of caution, especially in my situation. So, all right, that's it for this one. I will update again when I know more, and yeah, that's it. So until next time, take care. Bye.